All right. Well, welcome to the very first episode of Legacy and Libations, where we talk about life, death, and the beverages that get us through them. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the best-selling author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent. And I'm here with my co-host on the show, Mr. John Braddock, founder of MyLifeAndWishes.com. Hey, John.
Hey, Bill, how are you doing, man?
I'm excited to be here. I love this brainchild of a call that we came up with. Guys, the call that you're going to experience tonight is we designed because we wanted to talk about important stuff that oftentimes gets pushed aside or tucked down deep inside, but it's extremely important about protecting our legacy, protecting our loved ones, and giving us peace of mind. But we wanted to do it in a fun environment, right, John?
Absolutely, absolutely. I spend most of my days talking with attorneys and talking to people about the inevitable, right? And so sometimes it's fun to talk about it and help, but a little bit of liquid relaxation just makes the conversation a little smoother.
It certainly helps. Social lubricant for sure. So the guys, the call flow today is going to be, we're going to share some stories, share a little bit about my life and wishes, how it originated, why I'm so passionate about it. In the future calls, this is the time where we will most likely have an estate planning attorney or other passionate professional sharing their story, their value, their tips for building your own estate plan. And then we're going to move into a workshop. If you choose to participate in that and you want to take the next step in your estate plan, we're going to workshop the My Life and Wishes section, just one section each week. And then we'll open it up for Q&A. So if you have some questions about what this looks like, whether it's the platform or just estate planning in general, or you want to share some of your own experiences, this is going to be a real safe environment to do that as well. So I guess my first question for you, John, is what prompted My Life and Wishes? How'd this come about?
Well, with all like all good things, they come out of personal life experience. And some of you on here I may have spoken with before. You may know my story, so bear with me. I'll keep it brief. Back in 2013, my father-in-law passed away unexpectedly. He lived literally less than a quarter mile up the street. And it was the first time my wife and I ever had to deal with losing a loved one and settling their final affairs. And as I always say, to say that process was like a scavenger hunt on steroids is a gross understatement, because we couldn't find anything. We couldn't find will, we couldn't find insurance policies. We had trouble tracking down bank accounts and website logins, and the list goes on and on. And it just prompted me to think through. First of all, some secrets should not be taken to the grave, because this process took us about a year, and it was very time consuming and very expensive to get that done. So I had this thought. I said, what is it that I know that nobody else knows that someday they're going to need to know? And boy, I'll tell you, my kids at the time, we had a couple in college, but several still in high school. And I thought, if something happened to me, they would not know who my attorney is. They would not know who my accountant is. They would not know who my financial planner is. They wouldn't know all the banks I banked at and the types of accounts that I had there. They wouldn't know where my investments were, my IRA or my 401k. They wouldn't know if I had life insurance and where to find it, much less take down my 400 and some digital identities. Everything from Facebook to Amazon to Hulu to Netflix, SiriusXM Radio, Zoom, the links, and it goes on and on. And so remembering that one out of one of us still statistically are going to die at some point. We just don't know when. I thought, man, what if there were a way that when I died, my family could have access to everything they need immediately. And since my kids are spread out all around the country, they'd be able to gain access to that wherever they were. Would that make their lives a lot easier? And so we built the My Life and My Life and Wishes platform, which is a secure online planning and storage platform to do just that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that I didn't know that I needed until I saw it in action. And I know what's interesting about this is you weren't the only one, obviously not the only one that was in that position. I saw a statistic the other day, John, that said that 52% of adult children don't know where their parents' stuff is. They don't know if there's a will, they don't know if there's a trust, they don't know where any of their paperwork is, what their online accounts were, or anything. And I realized that I was in that same position too. And this is one of the reasons I'm so passionate about My Life and Wishes, is that I had, I don't know if near death experience is the right word, right, John? But it was,
sounds close to me.
It was pretty damn close. You know, on August 27th, 2022, I was experiencing extreme difficulty breathing. I almost passed out twice, and being stubborn and probably stupid, if you just wanted to be truthful about it, right, is I didn't want to call 911. I just figured it was something that was going to pass. And luckily, people in my family, when they heard about it, they insisted or yelled at me to call 911, and I'm glad I did, because I was having a major acute saddle pulmonary embolism. And had I passed out, I probably would be dead. And I mean, I saw stars. I was really close to losing consciousness. So I would have likely died that day. Luckily, the ambulance came, obviously, everything is working out okay now. But honestly, when I was there in that moment, there's all these weird things that go through your head. But I had some peace of mind, because the only part of my estate plan that I had in place was my Life and Wishes. I didn't have my trust complete. In fact, I was behind on getting my paperwork to the firm that's doing my living trust. I hadn't done anything else. I didn't have my healthcare directive in place. All I had was my Life and Wishes, so that at least if I did pass away, or if I was incapacitated for any amount of time, people could at least, there's a little bit of a roadmap, like a little morsel of candy that said, hey, look here. Hey, look here. I have an account at this bank. I have a life insurance policy here. Oh, here's 10,000 websites that I apparently have an account in. That blew my mind too, John. Like, I heard somebody say that most people have about 160 digital accounts credited to their name, but it's more than that too, isn't it?
Oh, it is. There was a study about a year ago, and it said that per one email address was associated with an average of 130 digital identities. And I thought, it seems like a lot, even though I can start listing, Amazon, Amazon Prime, A to Z, Amazon to Zoom, right? All the identities we have out there.
Right.
But so I use a 1Password manager. I use LastPass. And so I thought, I wonder how many I have. And this was last September. And so I logged into my LastPass, and at that time I had 457. And I am an old guy. So,
crickets.
Exactly.
No, you're not, John.
Thank you, Bill. I'll drink to that.
Yeah, but isn't that, can you imagine? Okay, and this is where the real power of what My Life and Wishes does. It's the gift to your family. Because can you imagine having to go through and sort all that and have to find all that paperwork, plus all those different accounts, close those accounts? It's just got to be a nightmare. And
I've heard from so many people, and it happens to me. I have deceased friends whose Facebook and LinkedIn accounts are still active because their family either wasn't into social media or have never taken them down. And I get emails from Facebook and from LinkedIn to wish so-and-so a happy birthday. And it's like, man, I hope his other 500 followers know he's no longer responding, hey, thanks for the birthday wishes.
Right. That's stuff you just never even think about.
No. And the hard thing is, if we really think about it, we have so much stuff. And I get it. My father-in-law was one of those, oh, somebody will figure it out. Well, sure, someone will eventually figure it out. But, I always say when I die, I hope that, it's a time of sadness and grief for my children. But I certainly don't want it to be a time of added stress, anxiety, frustration, confusion, anger, not to mention the time and expense involved that they're going to have to pay an attorney or someone to try and track down all my assets.
Yeah, exactly. And if we work so hard, I would imagine, especially in my industry, John, we're very heart driven. We're here because we like to serve others, and we're building a legacy, or we're building wealth that we hope to pass on to another person. And to focus so much of our life building that legacy, but then not telling people where to find it afterwards is like a missing step, right? It's like walking them right up to the edge of the Grand Canyon, but not showing them where the bridge is to the other side, So this is why we're having these kinds of conversations, to help fill in all of those gaps.
Yeah, because most people don't have, the conversations. It's like, good friend of mine, he and his wife, they were leaving the attorney's office after preparing their will, and they're on their drive home. And the following conversation takes place, and most people don't have this. So congrats to them, right? So he says, hey, honey, I've been really thinking about this. And if I die, I don't want you to be alone. So I want you to remarry. And, he said, really, there's no reason to sell the house. So if it's okay with you, your new husband can just live in the house. And, come to think of it, we have 2 fine automobiles in the garage. So I wouldn't have a problem with him driving my car either. In fact, it'd probably be all right if he uses my tools and my fishing rod and my lawnmower. But there's just one thing that would bother me. I just don't want him using my golf clubs. That would be too much for me. So just sell those in a garage sale, okay? She turns to my friend and says, I wouldn't worry about that, honey. He's left-handed.
Oh, I was wondering where you were going with
Oh, hey,
good times.
when we're talking about serious topic, we got to add some humor, right?
Oh, yeah, that felt so real. I was in that story with you. That was good. You kind of spun me or sent me down another rabbit hole not long ago, which I absolutely love, by the way. But I got to thinking, about life insurance policies. We kind of, I think I just assumed that if I had a life insurance policy and I died, somebody from the life insurance company was going to call my next of kin or my beneficiary and say, hey, sorry, Bill died, but he's got you on this list. And it's not how that happens at all. In fact, there's so many, I saw weird estimates in the trillions of dollars of unclaimed life insurance money. That money just there's ways they have to manage it. It has to go to the state and stuff, but it does not, nobody's calling on your behalf. You've got to tell people where these policies and these funds are.
Oh, you're so right. It's so in my previous life before technology, I was in the financial services world. And I tell people all the time, I say, life insurance is an amazing tool. Everyone should have it. They need it, whether they're, young and just starting out, or whether they're Bill Gates, they need life insurance. but life insurance is only good if someone knows you have it. And you're right. I mean, trillions of dollars have gone unclaimed in life insurance simply because people don't talk about it or tell people, that they have it. And it's a tragedy, really. I mean, so many families. I remember when my mother-in-law actually died, we were at the funeral home, and my wife's Michelle's sister was there. And the funeral directors are great, and while they're telling you how sorry they are for your loss, their other hand is sliding you a bill across the table that has to be paid within the next, by the time we get mom in the ground, right? And it was for $15,000. And Margaret just kind of, where are we going to get the kind of money? She had no idea. And I think this happens to a lot of families. And if we don't know if there's life insurance there that we can assign to the funeral home, if we don't have that kind of liquidity or a credit card that we can put it on, it's so important.
Yeah, death is expensive. And I think a lot of times people don't talk about it. Well, especially I watch Investigation Discovery. I love some true crime, and those people, you don't want to be sharing your life insurance policies with just anyone. So, but having a vault like My Life and Wishes, where you have one designated person that in the event that something happened, they would have access to, that helps solve that problem.
Yeah, exactly.
John, what do you think about asking our guest on the show today, our audience members, if they'd like to share one of their stories, if they have a similar story to share?
Oh, I'd love it. I think it's a great idea. If anyone has had, an experience losing someone and what it was like and those kind of things, please share. I mean, we want this, and there's going to be a weekly show that we want to do, and we want audience participation. So,
yeah, is there anybody who's got one of those stories that you'd like to share? It's okay.
Or make one up.
Make one up too, but you've got to insert joke.
Right.
It's got to make me laugh harder than John's did.
John, Bill, Patricia.
Hey, Patricia.
Stay long.
Oh,
John,
Patricia,
you know I
hi.
love you, right?
Oh, I love you.
And I'm still working on my worksheet, but the attorneys that I gave it to as gift and some of my general notary and commercial clients, a couple of them gave me the sideways look after they read the title, and I had to give them a preface because everything has a bow on it when I give them the book. Then I hear from them later, maybe a week or 2 or 3, because people have to make time to read. Yeah. They tell me that that's the book that they're going to order, especially my estate planning attorneys, to coincide with those clients who are ready to do the estate planning. It's more or less like a preface. It's more or less like a primer, that this is all the stuff that you need to have and tell somebody. And everybody's been telling me, thank you. I might have to reorder. I don't know.
Well,
because I got a lot of books, huh?
We've got the books, and I'm happy to get them up to you. And I have to say thank you, because I have spoken with one attorney who will remain nameless, at least on this call, but who's in Chicago, who called me, and we're having a conversation, and I mentioned my book, and I had connected with her on LinkedIn, and she goes, "What's that book?" And I'm like, "How do you have that book?" She said, one of my best notaries gave me a copy of it for Christmas. And I said, "Patricia Bridges." And she said, "Yeah, how did you know?"
Small world.
I didn't want to tell her that you were the only one handing out my books in Chicago.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing that with, directors, executors, not just attorneys, but people who are decision makers in the industry that I visited more than one time. It's not a first time gift, because I don't want to be, presumptuous, but I get to talking and throw my personality out there. And I was like, you got to really read this book. it has a strange title, but it's humorous, it's thought-provoking, and I'm struggling through trying to get all my stuff together to go, because your latest email was about doing a video. And I started laughing. I said, that could be taken two ways. They could find comfort in that, or they could say that was the worst movie that they've ever witnessed, you know? So, but yeah,
If you,
I think this is so on point. That really caught me about social media and people saying happy birthday. And Bill, you know, we just did with Sandra
Yeah.
Long. So here it is, your birthday time, and you've been dead 2 years, and everybody wants to wish you the best.
Awkward. Yes.
You know, but that's my 3 cents worth in it. And I think it's a really good book, really good opportunity, a gentle way to get people to think about when they're not here. Nobody wants to do that. And I like the fact when you talked about you had your daughter and you gave your son permission too, but your son was trying to be nosy, but it gives you alerts. And you were like, so what are you doing?
yeah, yeah, I'm
So I
not dead
like that.
yet.
Yeah,
Well,
I like that.
I
So
am
I will,
humbled. I'm humbled and truly grateful for your support, Patricia.
it was so easy. You know, when people like what they like, it's easy to promote it, it's easy to talk about it, and it's easy to support it. And that was a easy thing. It was an easy read too. And I reached right. I didn't reach out to you. I wrote a review based upon how I felt about it. And we had just learned in LinkedIn how to do video chats. And what happens? You pop up in a video. I'm like, oh my gosh, it does work. So yeah, it's been fun getting to know you and to, you know, interact with you. And I'll support you in any way I can. And I'm done talking now.
All right. Thank you so much, Patricia. That was great. Thank you. And I love your creativity in that relationship building approach. Vicky, thank you so much for raising your hand. You have a experience for us to share?
Well, it's probably opposite of a lot of people, but my father died in 2020, and the last 10 years of his life, um, all the time we would come visit, he would say, remember my will, my trust is in the file cabinet over here. And, you know, he was in perfect health and everything for 10, 15 years, the last um, times of his life. And so when he did pass away, everything was so easy or simple or put together. Everything was like spelled out. And I've come to notice not many people do that.
No,
And
that's
so I'm
unusual.
like, you know, we sold our California house and split amongst some, you know, my siblings and everything was just went like this, really simple. My brother was an executor, and it was painless, really. So yeah, so that's why eventually I want to work with the estate planning companies and everything. And so I like these type of webinars just to listen to, and I'm thankful my father did that. He was thinking about it. He was an engineer, so he, you know, thought of all the little things.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear about your father, but God bless him for being proactive and knowing that
Yeah.
someone's going to have to deal with this stuff. And like you say, I mean, he was in probably the top 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To talk about this. I wonder if we can do a survey too, John, if engineers are the leaders in that field.
I'll
There's,
bet they are.
you know,
Maybe.
there's a certain logical and a process to it that they probably relate to really well. But I think that's a gift that he left for you too, Vicky, is just to be able to talk about that
Oh yeah.
up front and without it being this huge emotional
Oh yeah. Yeah,
thing
totally.
that people don't want to face. Yeah. And
Mhm.
it's nice and organized, and you guys can grieve without having to fight or stress.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah. That's
Dennis,
so
I noticed
important,
that
you
you,
know.
oh, I'm sorry.
Families, you know, when things aren't laid out and planned, families fight. You know, is and they can't make decisions, right? Because like I say, I mean, Michelle and I have 6 children between us. And I mean, we can't agree on what movie to go to, what to have for dinner, and everything else, much less if I were gone, if they'd agree on how things should be broken up or distributed, or who should be in charge or do this kind of stuff. And so it's that little bit of planning that keeps families, together and not divided.
Yeah, such a big difference. Speaking of that too, and we'll get to Dennis here in just a moment, but next week we have an estate planning attorney you'll love, who's going to speak on some of those types of things too. So the first 15 to 20 minutes of the show next week will be dedicated with an estate planning attorney. So tune in, same time, same place next Wednesday. Dennis, I noticed you unmuted. Do you have an experience you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'll share my experience with my parents. My mother died in 1995, and father was all distraught, why me type syndrome. And she, I should have gone first, that type of thing. All right, Dad, well, we got to clean up this, we got to clean up that. He had no idea. She did all the finances. He had no idea where things were. So we spent it, and he went back to Ohio from down here. And so when I would make trips up there, we would be looking for this, looking for that. Things were really disorganized. They had a place both in Florida and in Ohio.
Yeah.
So where was everything? Yeah, it was basically the question. And he had no idea and actually had no interest. He died in 99. It took 7 more years for me to find everything, but it even gets better yet. In 2015, I see this ad about Florida has a, I don't know, I forget the name of it now, but it's like a treasure vault. But it's where things pile up at the state, but they don't come get you. They don't let you know. But they did this advertising, see if you've got something there in your treasure vault or whatever. So there's a process.
Yeah.
And so I looked, and sure enough, there was some things there in their name, but you have to fill out paperwork, and it took 2 more years because I didn't fill it out properly, and they always kicked it back. And then I got this letter from an attorney, says, hey, if you've got anything, so, okay, fine. Now, it wasn't much. I mean, it was just under $5,000. And I think the attorney took 20% or whatever. And that's fine, just to get rid of it. The point is, in 2017, I finally got it cleared up. So it went from basically 1999 all the way through, because there was no idea where this stuff was.
Wow.
And trying to track it down is that was a nightmare. I'm an only child, so I don't have siblings to kind of help me on this. And that was quite an ordeal. I'm not going to do that to my children. I went ahead. I've got the vault, and thank you, John, for that. I tell you what, it's really great. And I tell you what else I like about it is your security. That was huge to me. And I feel the utmost confidence in the security of that. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you for your kind words. And I really appreciate it. And yeah, you've been through it. I went through it, which is why I decided to create what I did, because I didn't want to leave my kids to go through what I had to deal with. And so I really appreciate it. And yeah, security is our foundation. I think, as I've mentioned in earlier Zoom meetings, that we spent well over a year just developing the security protocols before we ever even attempted to launch this to the public. So thank you, Dennis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what 2 perfect examples on the extreme side of the scale, right? Vicky shared that her dad was organized and talked about it, and it was all done. And then Dennis shares that it took 18 years to figure that out. And what you described too with that, I think it's found money. I'll double check that, but
Unclaimed money.
Unclaimed money.
Yeah,
but
there's Google unclaimed money.
There's one organization, that is sanctioned by the state, so you can find all that. But it is like I'm going through it too, because I found some things. But it is a process just to even fill it out and then waiting for it. So what a gift. And I think that's a perfect segue, Dennis, to move us right into the demonstration and the initial lesson on My Life and Wishes. If you'd like to join us, if you have the platform, I know many of you already have the platform, which is great. You're welcome to participate and join us in this, because I'll tell you what most people do. Most people get the platform and then it sits there empty. So part of the goal of this call is for us to be able to hang out, have a libation, and then get our beep together, right? Together. So we're going to actually do some exercises here. I know there's some new faces on here too that maybe don't know about the platform. So John's going to walk us through, share a screen, show you how to set up your account. It's completely free for 30 days. So if you just want to get in and check it out and see if it's for you, join us. I'm going to post that link in the chat for you. It's just mylifeandwishes.com, so you can check it out. And then John, I'll turn it over to you right now, and I'm going to get some fresh eyes.
All right. Yeah, for those of you already using the platform, awesome. I truly appreciate it, and I know your family will too. The reason we're doing this is to help you already using it. Every week we can do this together. We'll dive deep into different sections and hopefully answer questions and make things easy. So we'll all do it together instead of having to do it alone. If you're not currently using the platform, I'll show you how to set up a free trial if you'd like to do so. So Bill posted into the chat the link to mylifeandwishes.com, which is our platform. And if you go to the upper right-hand corner, and actually before I get there, we have a lot of information out here. We've got a short video on why we built this. Our planning section has blogs and podcasts and checklists that you can download. No email required there. But if you click the try it for free button in the upper right-hand corner, it'll take you to the create account page. And to open an account is very simple. You simply put in, your first name, your last name. I don't know why that took me a minute trying to figure out. I think I should know what my last name is. And then put in your preferred email address. And then you're going to select a password. Now, the password needs to be at least 8 characters long and have one number and a special character. And so to make it easy, we have this password bar right below there. So it's red, and till it's dark green, your password won't be acceptable. So I'll just use a password you shouldn't use. I'll use password. Let's see, now I need numbers. So I'll say 20, 23, and now I need a special character. So I'll go with an exclamation point. So now I have a full green bar, and this will now be accepted. And now I have to prove I'm not a robot. And sometimes that's harder than you think. And then I accept the terms and I create my account. And boom, I'm in. The first thing it asks you is, would you like to secure your account with 2-factor authentication? I usually always recommend people do this, and text message is always best. Some people like email for that. I personally don't, because many times, depending on who your email client is, the email that comes might end up in your junk or your clutter folder. So text message works fine, but you can skip it for now because you can always add it from your account settings page. So in this case, I'll skip it. Then it says, hey, do you want to share your account with your spouse and or significant other? You can do that from this page by simply putting their first, last name, their email address, and then select a security question like, where do we meet or where do we go on our honeymoon? Type in your answer, and then it will email your co-owner an email to accept. They'll have to answer a security question that you've picked, and then they'll be in the account with you. And you can also skip that initially if you wish. And then it says, boom, success, you're inside and you're ready to start entering information. So inside, we've built everything to make it super intuitive and very easy to complete. You don't have to think about it. We'll ask you the questions. And so we have, a section for personal information, financial, families, your advisors, your documents. And whenever you go into any of the sections, there's subsections. So under personal is a place for your personal info, your healthcare provider, employer information if you want, education, financial, show me the money. Some secrets shouldn't be taken to the grave. Any loans or debt obligations, your credit cards. Credit cards are so important. When someone dies, the attorneys always say, be sure to cancel the credit cards. Why is that? It's because of all the things that we have set up that are on auto pay and recurring pay, right? So we have to cancel them, but we can't cancel the cards if we don't know what they are, right? And whenever you're in any of these sections, there's a button that says, I'd like help. And if you click on that button, it will open a new tab in your browser, and it'll take you right to that section of our help guide. And at the top of the help guide, you can also download a quick start guide, a getting started guide, a full user guide. And then for the benefit of my 85-year-old mother, there's a short video on how to turn on two-factor authentication, because she really struggled with that one. There's a place to list all your family members, your children. Adding children is really easy. What's their name, phone numbers? This is helpful for me because we have 6 kids. So get the kids' names, their address, their email addresses, their date of birth, where they were born, if they're married, who my son-in-law or daughter-in-law are, what's their anniversary date, social security number. We'll provide all that information for family. Again, in financial, entering bank accounts is very easy.
Hey, John.
Yeah.
We had our first comment. I was waiting for it in iPhone or ePhone, however you choose to pronounce it. Brought it up first, and I love it. They just say, this is overwhelming. What do you say to that?
I love it. It should be, because you have a lot of stuff. And if you don't share it. So here's what I tell people, and this is what we're going to do next week, because today I'm just going to show you these various sections. Next week, we're going to go deep into it, and I'm going to teach you how to build a basic roadmap without getting overwhelmed. What I tell people is this: look, I need to lose 15 pounds. I'm still struggling to get rid of my COVID weight. So if I go home tonight and go to the gym and work out, I am not waking up tomorrow morning 15 pounds lighter. It's not going to happen. But if I go to the gym tonight, tomorrow, and maybe the day after, and a little bit next week, a little bit the week after, and a little bit after, in a month or a month and a half, I'm going to wake up 15 pounds lighter. What I tell people is, look at this like a weight loss program. Okay, you're not going to enter everything in your life by tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
But if we do a little bit at a time, which is the whole point of why Bill and I wanted to do this show, is if we do a little bit at a time, we do it together, and we do it each week, we can make it really simple. And in just a few weeks, you'll have everything in there. So let me just, and I'll highlight this next week. So the critical things that family need to know, right, are where's the money? Where are the bank accounts? My kids wouldn't know where I bank, right? So, and yeah, it could be overwhelming. Oh God, I don't know my account number. I don't know the address. Doesn't matter. It's either checking, savings, or other. Under every drop down, there is always an other option. When you select other, there's one more required field. So I have a money market account. Account number is not required. It's part of our security protocol. What bank? Arizona Bank and Trust. I don't know their phone number. I don't know the address. You want to make it easy on family? How do you get statements? Are they mailed or emailed? Where do you keep the checkbook? But you don't even have to put that in if you don't want. And just save it.
That's exactly how I got started. I was like, I'm just putting bank name in. That's it. Just a bank name in the account, the type of account, the basic information. And then you keep going back to it. It's that we talked about it on office hours earlier today, John. It's Kaizen. It's constant, continuous improvement, going back and just refining.
Exactly. And so it's like I tell people, we'll talk about this next week, because those of you who have an account but haven't yet started to fill it out, don't worry about it. We're going to do it together. If you're just starting a free trial, which I hope you do, just look around in there. If you don't want to start putting something, don't do it, because we're going to do it easy. Because next week, we'll do the same thing. Because these are the kind of things I could be sitting around watching the golf on Sunday afternoon. And I don't have access to all this stuff. But here's what I do know. Bank account. I have a checking. It's also at AZ Bank and Trust. Save. Boom. What am I doing? I'm building a roadmap. Okay. The more information I give family, the better. But much like Vicky's dad, he said, the will and trust are over here in this filing cabinet. You know, there's notes that say where things are. What I'm doing here is I'm creating a roadmap for family. I'm telling family, you know, here is where I bank and here are the type of accounts. That is a lot easier process than my daughter Mary flying in from Florida and going on what I'll now refer to as the morbid scavenger hunt. That's where we have to dig through a deceased person's stuff to try and find where their bank accounts are. And as Dennis can attest to, trying to track this stuff down and locate it is daunting. I'll point out like 2 other sections, and then we'll come back next week and we're going to have a lot of fun with this. But documents is where you can put really anything you can think of. We give you a lot of low-hanging fruit, but here's where, you know, we have, you know, your will, marriage license, divorce papers, tax returns, other records. This is where I would, you know, put, you know, the trust. Of course, you'd put the name of it, you know, the Braddock Family Living Trust. Tell them where the location is. Where is it? Where's the trust? It's you know, in the blue binder in office on bookshelf.
And then it can also
If
be
I don't-
uploaded right there, right?
Right. But if I'm watching golf, I don't want to go look for the digital copy now or find it. So I can just go save. So at least now, family, oh, the trust is in that blue binder in the office on a bookshelf. Sweet. If I want to make it better, I can go in and I can upload that document, and your estate planning attorney will give it to you electronically anyway, because they usually give you that little flash drive. And we better upload it and secure it somewhere anyway, because that flash drive is going to fail, or your new laptop, like my MacBook Air, doesn't have a port for a flash drive on it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of your clients too, your estate planning clients, they do the upload. They'll create an account and upload the documents for their clients, right?
They do. They set up the basic account for the client with a temporary password, and they upload those supporting documents right for them, which their clients absolutely love.
So cool.
The other 2 sections are really important. One, end of life. Okay. As my friend Nick said, I wish I'd known Mom wanted to be cremated before I buried her. And that's a true story. He found out a couple months later, looking through Mom's journals. Well, hey, it's nice you journaled about it, Mom, but you could have told somebody.
Yeah.
And as I always like to joke, there's a place for eulogy notes, because I figure if I want someone to say something nice about me, I should write it
You
myself.
should write it. Absolutely.
But when a person dies, in the first 48 hours, there's like 121 questions that family have to answer. And the first one is right here: institution to handle the arrangements. My father-in-law was still on his bedroom floor. We were in the living room with the medical examiner, and she says, "Where should we take Dad?"
I can't
There's
imagine.
there's
Yeah.
10 funeral homes in town. I don't know. I'm in shock.
Right. Oh,
Treatment of body, burial, cremation, final resting place. Answer the questions for family. Who do you want to perform it? Is it your pastor, your rabbi? You just want a memorial service? What about music, notes, food, drink? What about the flowers, donations? Where should they go? Make it easy for family. And my favorite one is the one that we just added, and this gives me the ability to upload video, because, I want to record a video because I'm kind of a smart butt, record my phone video for my kids. Hey, if you're watching this, it's probably not really good news, but leave them my parting words or special notes to family. It's just a great place to do that.
I love this feature.
So lastly, and we'll go again, start a free trial if you like. Next week, we're going to start going through each section, and I'll tell you little tips and tricks and fun things that you can do with them. But under the account settings, when you signed up with your free trial, if you haven't turned on two-factor authentication, you can do it in here. It's very easy. Just manage it. You can put in your cell phone number and get it done. If you didn't invite a co-owner or spouse, your partner, you can do that right under co-owner. And again, it's their name, their email, choose your security question, and you can add them in from right there. And then for anyone that's on a free trial, and we'll go into this next week, and we want you to use a free trial. Check it out. I mean, I'm not asking you to pay for anything. If you like the trial and you want to keep the account after building it out with us, in here's where you enter your information. But this $129 is just too much. So we want you to enter a different code, which would be, and I'll repeat this every week, it would be for my family. And if I enter that code and I click apply, it changes my price to $99. It's $30 off perpetually for a subscription for anyone that wants that.
Beautiful.
So I'm going to share one more thing, because you don't want to be this person. On my deathbed. Oh, by the way, I left $1 million under the.
I saw a comedian do something similar. He's like trying to time his death perfectly. He wants to do that. He wants to whisper that, and who's ever in the room with him, he wants to whisper that and just die right before he tells him where it's buried.
It's fine. It's like the priest said, told me that my father would not get into heaven because greed had consumed his life. But then he told me it's okay. He said, if you donate my entire inheritance, we can probably work something out.
Negotiation. Love it.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for tuning in for our very first show. Next week, we've got a special estate planning attorney guest who's going to share their passion for what they do, plus some tips on building your own estate plan. It'll be another great conversation with the 3 or even 4 of us, maybe. Tune in at 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's 7 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesday. And of course, I'll send out the link. We do have time for questions, though. Is there anybody who is here and has a question about their estate plan, about the platform, about how this works? And I see Martha jumped right in with a question. Thanks, Martha. How can we
Yes.
help?
Okay, so I recently was in a coma, and thankfully I got out of it with just a drop foot, which is fine. However, I noticed that my health proxy was totally ignored by my mother, who I assigned as the agent, and I'm really upset because I don't like being a handicap, but it is what it is now. And I was wondering, is there a service that I can use to hire or have someone else be my health proxy who's not so emotionally vested in me, like my mother was?
Wow, great question, Martha. Thank you for coming on and sharing that. And I'm glad to have you here. John, do you know, or do you think we could even bring this question up when we have one of our attorneys present?
Oh, I think we should ask an attorney for sure. You know, that's so hard. You know, you've got that proxy. I don't know if you did it just on your own, which I know you can do. You can download forms depending on what state you're in, or if you used an attorney. If you use an attorney, I mean, you can certainly assign a new proxy if there's someone else in your life whom you trust will make the right decisions that you want made, you know, because the reason we have a healthcare POA is so it gives us a voice when we don't have ours, right?
Yeah.
If you don't have anyone else, you know, close to you in your family, I don't know if there's services, but your estate planning attorney could be that for you, much like they can also be a trustee on your trust.
Martha, I think that's a great question. I think let's bring that up, John. Let's make a note of that, because it's interesting, because I have the same challenge. You know, I automatically defaulted to my mom for making those decisions, but I stopped when I realized the emotional impact of that. So I assigned a cousin that is a nurse who's just very matter of fact and doesn't have the emotional attachment and understands how it works. So she's my designee. So my mom isn't put in that position, and whatever my wishes are going to be followed through because of the emotional detachment there. But this sparks an idea too, right? Like, is this an opportunity? Are there other people? It's almost like we run into witness services. You know, people need witnesses all the time. Maybe there are people who need this kind of service that has the emotional detachment and just follows through on the exact wishes.
Yes,
Exactly.
I can't wait to hear what the attorney
that's
says.
a good idea. We'll definitely bring it up on the next new show. Thank
You
you.
got it. Thanks, Martha. I
Terrific.
appreciate that. I always love a good idea. Shelley, thank you so much for being here. How can we help?
Hi, thanks, Bill and John. Good information shared tonight. I do look forward to checking out the trial for the My Wishes platform. So I have recently been, I only have one child and I'm now divorced. And so where originally we had like a will when I was married, now everything is separate and so forth and etc. So I have recently been working with a trust attorney to set up a trust and also, you know, like updating will and all of that good stuff. So my concern and my question is, if you have your trust attorney and then you also have this platform in place, how do you share the information between the two so that nothing is missed? Because having only one child, I wanted to make sure that I have everything taken care of on the front end so that it's no extra burden or, nothing missing or undisclosed for her.
Yeah, well, what a gift, Shelley. Thank you so much. Gift for your child as well. John, what do you say to that?
They kind of work hand in hand. Your attorney is going to provide the trust documents for you, which will include your will and those kind of things. And obviously, assuming you look very young, your child is a minor. What happens in those situations, and that's the critical piece. And then the storage of that within the platform, making it accessible is critical. And estate planning attorney can help you with that. We can help you with that. But then it's all those little things that we've discussed that a trust document doesn't say. It doesn't say where your credit cards are or where you bank and those. And so having it all in that one spot, I mean, it's like a file cabinet that's accessible from anywhere.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, thanks. And I guess probably not everyone has this situation, but the caveat and what makes me so, I guess, anxious and concerned is we did not start our family until we were in our 40s. And so even at the time when our daughter matures to a legal age, say 18 and 21, we're into our 60s then, and hopefully still around. But in the event something were to occur beforehand, I think that's where my concern is. Like, I was impressed with this platform allowing me to have a co-owner versus, the attorney, and then she's still not of age to really decipher all of that.
Right. So one thing I did point out, and we'll look at next week, is beyond a co-owner. So if you're divorced, there really isn't someone to be a co-owner to the account, but in the account settings area, there's a place where you can designate what we call authorized users. That's someone who you would want, God forbid something happened to you, to be able to go in and access and get all this information right away. And so we can add those inside, and that would be depending on who that person is in your life. A very close and trusted sibling, a mother or a father. And in some cases, we have people who just don't have anyone presently, and they can assign their estate planning attorney as an authorized user. So that someone will have this information.
Yep.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
Shelley.
And Shelley, John's kind of a big deal too. So maybe even ask your estate planning attorney if he uses My Life in Wishes, because many of them do. And if not, see what kind of solution he can suggest, or even John can even speak to that attorney if you want, whatever you want to do. But sometimes they'll have a solution for this as well if you just mention it. They usually may not mention it till the very end.
Okay, will do. And does John have an affiliate link or something that he has for like other attorneys? Because I know we're all in various states.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll tell you what, Shelley. I'm going to if you have access to the chat, I'm putting my email.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So I just put my email address in there. If you want to go ahead and send me an email, and then we can connect kind of offline, and I'll let you know what we do with affiliate and those kind of things, because we do have a good referral program for people that refer attorneys to us, that we pay a very nice referral fee and stuff. So
yeah, I like your thinking, Shelley. Great question. And thank you for bringing that up. Guys, we're about 4 minutes past the hour. We'll go ahead and wrap up. Thank you so much for being part of the very first Legacy and Libations. John, thank you as usual. What'd you think?
Thank you. This is great. Wonderful people on here, as always, that you bring together, Bill. Great questions, great stories. I thank everyone for sharing. Look forward to doing this on a weekly basis. Really want to help people get this done. And let's do it with beverage of choice in hand and relax and make it a fun experience that we all do together.
Cheers. See you next week, guys. 4 p.m. Pacific time on Wednesday. Bye-bye.